Hi everyone, my name is Simna. I'm doing my PhD in Waikare Uni. My supervisor is Dr. Albert and Dr. Alvaro. So I'm doing my project as part of Tao project and as ESR data science team. So my topic is leveraging multi-source data for comprehensive analysis of climate change, agriculture, environment, health, and socio-economic status. So to give an overview of my project, in recent decade, we have seen the environment have experienced increasing impact due to climate change. So, and we can also see that the level of green gas emission has increased in the atmosphere. Now, our activity, directly or indirectly, has triggered the climate drivers to force the climate change, and which is changing the surface temperature, sea level, and precipitation, and which is again causing extreme event. And if we see now, the frequency, intensity, duration, and the extent of this event has been increased drastically. So if we use multi-sources of data, it gives us the ability to create a holistic understanding of this complex system using multiple factors. And it also helps us to understand how this climate change is affecting our social system. And we can better plan better adaptation measure to tackle potential and actual impact of climate change. So the potential effect of climate change, we can see in forest, we can see in coastal area, we can see in agriculture, water resources, our native species and its ecosystem, and health. In my research, I'm mainly focusing on agriculture, specifically on crop yield, then native species, and then health. So my first case study is multi-source data analysis for agriculture. Here I'm doing avocado daily harvest forecasting, where I'm using avocado productivity data. Then I'm getting weather data from ERA5 and also extracting vegetation indices from Landsat, because my data which I have is old data. So Landsat is giving me all the vegetation indices. I'm developing a deep learning model which could forecast avocado yield on a daily basis using all the environmental factors as my covariance. Some of them I'm using as past covariance, some of them I'm using as future covariance. The model that I'm using is temporal fusion transformer. So the first I've developed a model which is just a univariate model for a single orchard. I'm taking the productivity data and I'm forecasting. The second model is same single orchard, but I'm adding all the environmental factors to it and forecasting. Third one is, it is a multi-time series model where I'm taking different orchard from different region of our North Island and forecasting. And the last one is multiple orchard model. It is like a multiple time series multivariate model where we are adding multiple productivity data along with the environmental factors of those areas. So here the image shows the forecast of the test data for 9 different orchard using all these 4 models. Now, if you see the accuracy, the first model, which I'm picking as a base model, have an accuracy of 0.69. When I'm adding environmental covariance into that, the accuracy improved into 0.78. So when it goes to a multiple time series model, it becomes 0.83. And when I added environment factors into that model, the forecasting improved into 0.9. So the right side, you can see an image. It is the forecast of a complete orchard. Using the 4th model, where I'm getting an accuracy of 0.94. Now, impact of this study, I'm using multi-sources of data. The activity that I've done is research on how weather factors are influencing the avocado harvest. And then the output is I have developed a deep learning model. So the outcome is, it is a global model, which can be used for different perennial crops. And it is using all the weather factors and other environmental factors, and it is looking into how that is influencing the yield. So impact of the study, it understands the irregular bearing of avocado, and we can use this model for resource management and supply chain management. So my second case study is multi-source data analysis for environment. Here I'm doing a manuka-dominating ecosystem data analysis, which is in the Lake Waikare catchment. So to give a context of it, so a farm is converted into an experimental area, and they divided the whole experimental area into 6 different plots. So there are 3 plots where they planted manuka tree, and 3 plots they maintained it as a control plot. So it is just grass and other shrubs. This was done in 2017, and then they established sensors into that location in late 2020, early 2021. Now, my major task was to analyze this sensor data. But the sensor data is not like here, these sensors are not continuously collecting data. Sometimes it is collecting only once a day, sometimes 4 times a day, sometimes no data. So my first question was, how can I tackle that problem? And second was, how can I prove that manuka dominating ecosystem is actually helping to reduce surface water runoff or soil loss? So to address the first problem, I used NASA soil observation data, where they are collecting surface soil moisture and also roots on soil moisture. I did a correlation analysis with the actual soil sensor data. So it have a 70% of correlation. And these 2 images is the correlation image for actual sensors and these 2 values. So instead of directly replacing the data, I decided to develop a model. So here I'm using this sensor data, then the NASA data as a time series, and also included 12 bands of Sentinel-2 as a time series. Then instead of aligning, as I don't have continuous data points for my soil moisture sensors, I'm taking a daily average of all the values, and then normalized, transformed, and I'm using just XGBoost regressor, and hyperparameter tuning was done. My first evaluation, I divided a sensor data into train and test. My model predicted with an accuracy of 0.9. Then I did a 5-fold cross validation, where again it gave me an accuracy of 0.88. So if you can see that the image, so where I am plotting the actual soil moisture against the predicted soil moisture for the test data. And by analyzing more into that, so the important features that contributing towards the model prediction is the surface soil moisture, then blue, green, in infrared and shortwave infrared from the Sentinel-2, which is contributing towards the prediction. So I wanted to convert that into a forecast model. So I added 1 lakh features into it and changed that model into a forecasting model. So here, the blue part is, it is forecasting for the train set, and the green part, it is forecasting for the test set. Now, this is sensor data from the control plot. And below, you can see I am filling the gaps of that data using my model. And the next one is for the manuka plot. I'm filling the gaps using the prediction, that model that I'm developed. Now, to compare these 2 plots, to analyze how that have an effect, so I did a mean difference analysis. So the first control plot and manuka plot have very small difference. by collecting the ground truth data, we understood that it's because some of the manuka tree has been dead on that area. So it is a small effect. But when we convert into a different control plot and manuka plot, there is a difference. So this means that by planting native manuka tree, the soil capacity for storing water has been increased. So this can help in reducing water runoff and soil loss. But how can we prove that? For that, I have done a study on soil loss analysis. So this is a basic model that usually used for soil loss computation. So it's a result model. Here they are collecting satellite data and they are computing it for a year. And here I have used the base model and computed it for the whole Waikato basin. Now, for my experimental plot, it is very small plot. It is not the huge area of Waikato. So I have made a small change in the model. And then I can't just do for the control plot or the manuka plot because they are very small. So I took the whole experimental area for the study and a plot close to that area for comparing how is there a change in it. The green lines on the plot is the soil loss for the experimental plot, and the blue lines is for the soil loss in the other plot. And the red line is the trend line for the experimental plot. From this analysis, we can conclude that there is a decreasing trend in the soil loss in the experimental plot. So impact of this study, we're using multi-sources of data. We're doing research on soil moisture data and manuka ecosystem, and we developed a soil moisture prediction model. Outcome of this study, the soil moisture analysis helps us to understand how we can reduce the runoff, how we can reduce the soil loss. Now, the impact of manuka-dominating ecosystem and soil moisture prediction, the native ecosystem can help us to mitigate climate change effect. And the soil moisture prediction that we are doing, it can be used for other area like agriculture, where irrigation schedule modeling is there. We can use as part of that model, not to replace it, but we can use as part of the model. Now, the summary, I have done two case studies. One is on avocado daily harvest forecast and manuka dominating ecosystem. So both these cases I have considered environmental factors, weather factors, everything. And I have studied on how that is influencing on each of this. The next part of my research, I am doing on health. So how it is, how we can how we can relate the extreme weather event and our health, and how there is a causal relationship between all these factors towards our health. So that is the next part of case study that I'm doing. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Simna. We got two quick questions for Simna, maybe, or one? Yes, Anton?
Hello. Thank you. Where should I put my farm?
Probably it will only grow in North Island. So we can only consider North Island for that. And then we have to actually look into the temperature and the soil moisture part of it. So avocado consumes a lot of water. So we have to really consider that part. How are we going to give the water for it? So based on that, using the soil moisture model, you can actually decide where you can have it.
I just wanted to check what the new farming industry is doing and what your model is predicting with it.
So my model is actually helping to to borrow how much is your harvest, how much resource you require, how many employees you need to pick the avocado. You can decide from it. So you can actually forecast that and see that.
Thank you. I love avocado too. Yes.
What sort of range in advance do you measure
What sort of?
what range in advance? So what's the time period?
So here I have taken for 10 days. For 10 days. So that's what the best accurate forecasting. So that gives a week of, you can actually decide how to do it. And as we are considering all the rain factors and the weather factors, it actually shows you like if rain is coming and that is going as a future covariance. So it helps us to see.
Awesome. Thank you again.